Hey everybody, I'm Samantha Royal, and this is my Stupid Bass Show. It's a show where no one's an expert, and we talk about bass guitars. Sometimes other people talk about bass guitars. And yeah, we just get to see cool stuff that we might not otherwise get to see. If you are into that, tune in. It's every Monday. Like and subscribe, or I don't know, go to hell. So we're gonna get started. Today, since it's episode 1, I've got my main player. This is a bass I built back in, I want to say like September of 2019. So it's a few years old. It has, like a lot of my basses, been a process of modifications. Since I originally built it, I built a second neck for it because I didn't like the first neck. I put a tremolo on it. I'll get to that in a second. We've had pickup swaps, with added switches. There's a kill switch slash stutter switch, all sorts of goodies. So yeah, what else did I do? We started with a 3-bolt neck joint. I had one like here, here, and here. And I'm kind of like rowdy at gigs, and sometimes I drop my basses, or I purposely drop my basses. So this ended up being 7 bolts with good reason. It's a walnut neck, really, really pretty piece of walnut. A masonite, or not masonite, MDF body. Why such a cheap material? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a throwback to Danelectros, this thing. And Danelectros were originally made out of masonite and plywood. And yeah, I just thought that would be kind of a cool throwback. And as it turns out, I built several of these basses. And I really like the MDF. It's consistent. I know what I'm going to get when I build a guitar body out of MDF. So I really like that. Pretty hefty, so it's not for everybody. The space is about 10 pounds. It is short. I'm going to have to do this in another video, but trust me, this is actually shorter than a Les Paul. For size reference, it fits perfectly in a Stratocaster case, like a freaking glove. So really handy to have in that regard. It's a 30-inch scale. What else? Cherry fingerboard. I like to use a lot of recycled materials, so there's a lot of that going on. The cherry for this fingerboard came from a futon. The tremolo arm came from a coping saw, like a cutout part of a coping saw, because it's really nice tool steel and it doesn't bend. Yeah, I think that's all there is for recycled materials. What else do I have going on? It's fretless if you're blind. Um, the dots are real basic. I don't do a double dot like a lot of people do at the 12th fret. I like it to be like 12th fret, 12th position. I like to be right on the position, and that, I mean, that goes for all the dots. So instead of doing like a dot here and a dot here, like a lot of fretless basses will do, I just do one dot, and then I'll make it like a different color, or in this case, it's a black dot within a white dot to distinguish that that's the octave. Uh, got this really cool Diodario Planet Waves tuner that affixes to the tuner screw, so I can't lose it. I mean, I'm a professional. I've been building and buying and selling guitars and repairing instruments for almost 20 years. And I can't tell you how many times I've showed up to a gig and forgotten my snark. I've got they're over here. I got like 20 snarks, and I always lose them. There's a reason I have 20 of them. But this thing, this is a game changer. Thank you, Diodario. Not Diodario strings. Sorry, Diodario. These are DR strings. The pink neon, which I really like. I do wish they would make them in a short scale set because they end up pretty fat around the tuner, which is, it's not ideal, but it works, and I've gotten used to it, so I don't really think about it. Dual action truss rod. This neck is pretty, like, I don't know, medium thickness. Some people would consider that really thick. I consider this medium thickness because I played a lot of instruments from the 1930s and just weird handmade shit that has really thick necks. So this feels medium to me. It's really solid. It doesn't move. With weather changes, sometimes it'll end up in a hot trunk or a cold trunk on the way to a show or something, and it stays stable, which is really, really important, especially with a fretless instrument that's got really low action. And you're gonna hear it, so it's got some wah to it. And what that is, if you don't know what wah is it's just buzz. It's the string buzzing against the fingerboard in front of the note you're playing. So it's tapering off the fingerboard really gradual, and it buzzes a little bit there. And if your neck is not stable, if it's out of whack, like if it relieves, it's not going to sound good. It's not going to have that nice fretless sound that this bass makes. So yeah, I'm just going to play some stuff, and we can kind of talk about it as I play. I've got a tube amp that I'm plugged into. This is a little 5-watt Champ in head form. It is slightly modified for bass frequencies, and it's running through a single 15 cab. That is an amp maybe we'll talk about sometime. That's one I built. I've got something I didn't build, really fabulous pedal maker Debbie Ever made. This is a pedal called the Ruiner. This is one of my tastiest fuzz pedals, and I've got a lot of them. So I might use that today. And we're just running through the camera mic. No Reaper, no DAW, none of that. I'm sorry if you don't like that. I don't think it really matters because YouTube's going to compress it beyond belief anyways. But hopefully this will give you kind of an idea of what this thing sounds like. Right now we're running this bridge pickup, which is a DiMarzio Super Distortion. Tone all the way up, volume all the way up, and this is what it sounds like. Really, really nice harmonic tones. If I want to accentuate that even more, I've got this switch here, which is a piezo. You can hear that. And it's right here underneath the pickguard. So it just makes the whole bass more microphonic and gives you a little extension on the top end range. I don't know if you can hear the difference. It's really subtle, like just in the playing. But where this comes in really cool is like when you really juice it up just that sounds badass. Um, yeah, and you can just get all kinds of cool effects, and like depending on what effects pedal you're running into, you can get some really weird stuff just by having that piezo on and rubbing the bass in various ways, or like making little weird noises or scratching a string. You can get some really cool percussive loops going on. I used to play with a group called Snails and Oysters, and we did a lot of experimental stuff, and this came in clutch for that. Um, let's see what else we have going on. This switch does nothing. This used to be a couple piezos soldered to the underside of my bridge, and when I did the tremolo conversion, I broke the wires from moving, and I never fixed it. It just wasn't something I used a whole lot. This is like, it's kind of cool, I think, to look at that sort of stuff and see this in like videos, because like not everything you do when you build something or in a creative process ends up being successful. So like there's mods I've done to this bass that didn't work out. That was one of them. I had a weird push pull pot that would like reverse the kill switch, so that when you pushed it in, it was on, and when you let go, it was off. Whereas now it's the opposite of that. I thought that would be more intuitive somehow in my brain that week, and it really wasn't great. I believe the cap is I want to say like a .047 or somewhere in that range. And it makes a difference. Kind of subtle, but it's not overkill, which I like. What else is going on? This pickup. You hear it's distorting the amp more. This is like a kind of like a traditional Gibson Mudbucker. Of course, in my style, I've modified this. I got this pickup really cheap because one of the coils was broken. I guess the guy had stabbed it with a screwdriver on accident trying to adjust the poles. It had the wrong pole spacing, so I cut this out. I put this pink insert in here, and I made a piece to realign the poles in the correct positions for my string spacing. And then the coil that was dead, I rewound to, I think it was like 7K. So instead of being 30 kiloohms of resistance like a traditional Gibson Mudbucker, this one is 22, which is, if you've ever played an old school EBO, and I'm sure we'll have one on the show eventually, way more manageable. It's got nice dub tones. Yeah, I love that. This sounds really good with the fuzz So yeah, this thing is a ripper. It's a rock and roll bass. Um, I have track country on it, like some jazz stuff, but mostly it's rock and roll, industrial EDM stuff like that. It says Slut on it, like I don't know, Way of Life. What else? Sparkly. It's got pink and white stripes all over it. I guess I could talk about this tremolo. You see there's a spring in the back, and that's the spring for the trim, and then there's a little cutout around it so that it can go both ways. And and then it pivots on the front edge. It really doesn't move that far. Like, it's not like a dive bomb on a Floyd Rose or like a Kahler. I actually have a bass with a Kahler. We'll talk about that eventually. But this is where this thing excels. It's quick. And somebody out there is like, why would you need a tremolo on fretless? I always get that question. And, well, A, you can't do that without a vibrato, rather, on fretless. And you can't do, like, a low note, like this F. Because if I try and do that with my fingers, I've got to really, like, move far to get that kind of vibrato. See what I'm saying? So it's just way more straightforward to do it this way. And it's like, I can get that kind of vibrato up here with my fingers because it doesn't have to move as far. But this just gives me an extra option. It's a little bit easier. It's easier on your fingers. And then also chords. You can, but like I don't know anyone that can take a chord pattern and move it back and forth and like keep the pattern while they do that. So yeah, that's my main player. This is probably running on too long. And that's what it sounds like. Tune in next time. Like I said, every Monday we'll have a new episode, a new bass. Sometimes we'll interview people. Sometimes it'll be something really bizarre and wacky like this. Sometimes it'll be something that is obtainable to you. Just you got to tune in and see. If you subscribe and you like the page, if you hit the bell for notifications, it would really help me out. I appreciate it. I'm trying to build this channel, and it'll keep me doing this, and it'll keep us seeing cool bass gear. So with that, tune in next time when we talk about slapping the bass. Bye.